infected with the cordyceps fungus after he was bitten by another infected. Over a couple of days, fungal growths began to grow all across Mike's brain, destroying his sense of self and making him a puppet to the fungus. 3 days later, and Mike is now a runner. He will chase down and bite anyone who is not infected to spread the fungus further. Weeks and months later, and Mike is now a stalker. He will hide in the shadows and ambush any non-infected survivors that come too close. 1 year later, and Mike is now a clicker. He is blind, however his hearing is incredible. He uses a primitive form of echolocation to map his environment. Several years later, and Mike is now a bloater. He is very strong, very well armored, and can throw spore bombs to infect people. Mike could have become a shambler who can expel massive acidic spore clouds at close range. Decades later, and Mike is now the Rat King, the summation of several conjoined infected subjects into one giant formidable instrument of death and terror. Subscribe. Better than the SAS or the SEALs are the mobile task forces of the SCP Foundation. These guys are the absolute best of the best, hand-selected from various special forces from across the world, and then trained to deal not just with humans but the anomalous as well. You've got your standard task forces such as the Red Right Hand, the personal task force for the O5 Council, who operate under the strictest of secrecy. You've got the Maz Hatters, built to deal with any chemical, biological or radiological threat. You've got Pest Control, famous for never losing a team member. And then you have legendary task forces such as Samsara, immortal cyborgs made from the flesh of a dead god. You've got Hammerdown, tanks, helicopters and nuclear weaponry specialists. The Mole Rats, one of the most battle-hardened task forces there is. And then you have the most famous of all. You have Nine-Tailed Fox, the task force that even the anomalies fear. Subscribe for more. I'm about to show you the best ways to kill the infected from The Last of Us. This is Mike. He is infected. The easiest way to deal with Mike is to put him down before the infection becomes a threat. You've got 2 days before he becomes a runner. At that point, you want to keep Mike at a distance and put him down from range. Bows and arrows and guns are your best friends here. If Mike becomes a stalker, he will force a close quarters fight. You're going to need a shotgun or an axe so you can deal as much damage in the shortest amount of time. If he becomes a clicker, shotgun to the head or take out the knees so you can get him on the floor. If he becomes a bloater, first burn him with Molotovs and then aim for the mouth. Try and sever the spinal cord. If he becomes a shambler, treat him like a runner and attack him from a distance. If he becomes the Rat King, unleash hell and pray for a miracle. I'm about to show you the best. This is Mike. He just smashed his head into the wall so he could squeeze the bludgeoned pulp into SCP-323. That is the skull you see Mike wearing here. Poor Mike hung around SCP-323 for too long, and this thing puts out an influential effect. So Mike began experiencing cannibalistic thoughts, violent outbursts, and bad judgment, and the urge to wear the skull. Once he squeezed his broken head ball into the skull, he lost his body hair, his body fat, and his pigmentation. His fingertip bones shot out of his fingers, his teeth elongated, and his extremities began to blacken. Mike's metabolism also just went through the roof. He requires a constant supply of calories or he will starve to death in as little as 15 minutes. Mike will now begin exclusively hunting down humans to feast on, and he is blessed with greater strength and pain tolerance too. So good luck fighting him off if he comes your way. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He just had his neck snapped by SCP-173. Poor Mike. What Mike didn't know is that SCP-173 is a neck-snapping hostile stone statue that can move stupidly fast when you're not looking at it. As long as you keep looking at this thing, it cannot move. But if you blink, or in any other way break visual contact, then it's crunch time, my dear viewer. It will quickly close the distance and instantly snap your neck like a twig beneath a boot. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. His organs were just turned into a liquid slurry by SCP-3199. It's a humanoid creature that vomits up eggs to fill empty space. There is no limit, so given enough space, a single creature could fill the world with eggs in theory. The eggs are stupidly tough to destroy. The one time they were able to destroy one was by chilling it to minus 190 degrees Celsius in liquid nitrogen and crushing it at 9,000 psi. On the flip side, the adults are perfectly vulnerable to all the best forms of murder. If you come within just over half a kilometre of one of these ugly freaks, they will race towards you, do some pretty messed up shit, and hey presto, your organs and bones are now mush. You will then be dragged away towards the closest hatchling for consumption. Eat up kids, subscribe for more. This is Mike. His organs were just turned into a liquid slurry by SCP-3199. It's a humanoid creature that vomits up eggs to fill empty space. There is no limit, so given enough space, a single creature could fill the world with eggs in theory. The eggs are stupidly tough to destroy. The one time they were able to destroy one was by chilling it to minus 190 degrees Celsius in liquid nitrogen and crushing it at 9,000 psi. On the flip side, the adults are perfectly vulnerable to all the best forms of murder. If you come with within just over half a kilometre of one of these ugly freaks, they will race towards you, do some pretty messed up shit, and hey presto, your organs and bones are now mush. You will then be dragged away towards the closest hatchling for consumption. Eat up, kids. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. His organs were just... This is Mike. He just melted into a mess of liquid bone and flesh after standing in the sunlight. The When Day Breaks event was an apocalyptic scenario where the sunlight liquefied any organic matter it touched. The event saw something like 90% of the human race wiped out in just the first day, with the few survivors seeking refuge below ground. The flesh creatures would attempt to convert any non-affected subjects they came across with relentless tenacity. Even the bodies of those who had taken their fate into their own hands were not spared. Human victims were able to use warped speech and rehash old memories as a way of emotionally manipulating friends and family to join them in the sunlight. And as if having a melted lover in your ear telling you to catch some rays wasn't bad enough, they could also blend with other melted subjects to create giant formidable flesh constructs. The one silver lining though, Mike now has some friends. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He just got his soul ripped out. Poor Mike was exploring the back rooms when he approached a window. The windows are not your friends here. And if there is a shadow man in it asking you to come closer, don't do what Mike did and actually get closer. Once Mike was too close, the dude lunged out, grabbed Mike, and pulled him into the void. But going through a window with no weird guy in it can take Mike to a really fucked up place. Everything is inverted here. Up is down, light is dark, loud sounds are quiet. You get the idea. Mother lives here. And Mike will only know Mother is close when all sound is purged and he feels her breath on his neck. He cannot escape her. And when Mike finally accepts his fate, Mother will tear out his soul and melt it into the others that ventured through the backroom's windows. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He was just tortured to death by SCP-106. This wrinkly old asshole loves to play a deadly game of hide and seek, and once he gets his leathery, moist hands all over you, then it's off to the pocket dimension. This is a really shitty place to be. He controls reality here, and it will be his pleasure to torture and torment you in horrendous ways. Those lucky enough to survive will be thrown back into our reality, sometimes minus their organs, their bones, or their sanity even, and will quickly die from their wounds. Nowhere is safe because he can walk. This is Mike. Theory about the old dude's origins is that he was a World War I soldier who happened across an anomaly while fighting on the front lines that turned him into this thing. Talk about a shitty retirement plan. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He just had his ears cut off by SCP-1048, also known as the Build-A-Bear. This mischievous creature has the ability to construct additional teddy bears out of various materials, ranging from fabric scraps to human flesh. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. It's a teddy bear that can go all Build-A-Bear workshop on you, but with a gory twist. Previous creations have been made from severed human ears, the removed fetus of a pregnant woman, and scrap metal. No one knows where it is, so if you spot an adorable bear with a glint in its eye, keep your distance, please. Remember those 3 creations I just mentioned? Well, some really gory shit went down because of them, especially in the case of that pregnant woman. Makes me queasy thinking about it now. Subscribe for more. 8 crazy things your body parts can buy at the flesh market. Number 1, a mouthful of your own blood will let you shop at the flesh market. Number 2, a lungful of your air will let you know tomorrow's weather. Number 3, your pinky finger will grant you instant forgiveness for anything. Number 4, a pound of your flesh will prevent the next person you trade with from going back on the deal. Number 5, one of your eyes will let you communicate with the birds. Number 6, your genitalia will grant you immortality. Number 7, your stomach will let you understand the desires of everyone you talk to. Number 8, your heart will guarantee the lifelong happiness of one person. Subscribe for more. 8 crazy things your body parts can buy. This is Mike. He just bumped into a skin stealer. The skin stealers are an aggressive carnivorous predator that stalk the first 3 levels of the backrooms. When hunger strikes, they will hunt for lone humans. Once they catch their prey, the victim is brutally torn apart and consumed. The skin stealers have the ability to don the skin of their victims. Through minuscule suckers on their own bodies, they stretch and tighten the acquired skin, rendering it eerily lifelike. They even infuse blood and nutrients into the stolen skin to create the illusion of vitality and heal any wounds. The purpose of this is to lure unsuspecting humans for further consumption. 24 hours later, and the stolen skin will be entirely digested. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He just destroyed SCP-096. He first introduced the creature to 173, who used his favourite party trick of breaking necks to successfully break 096s, something no one had managed established before. A highly corrosive solution of various acids, combined with the acidic secretions from 075, the most corrosive substance known to terrestrial science, was then pumped into the creature's spinal column and cranial cavity. With 096's nervous system and the brain finally exposed, the faculties behind 096's regenerative abilities were completely destroyed. The creature's body quickly began to fall apart. A few tests later, and it was concluded that Mike had successfully and permanently destroyed 096. Good job, Mike. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He was just stuffed into a Five Nights at Freddy's suit. Mike just got a new job as the night guard at the local Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but a caveat of the job is that the animatronics here will wander by themselves at night, and if they happen to find a human at night, they don't recognize them as one. Instead, they see them as a metal mascot skeleton lacking its costume, and the animatronics won't allow that. So when he was caught, Mike was first dragged to the spare parts room. His legs were then bent and broken as Freddy forced the leg portions into position. His pelvis shattered, and his squidgy bits were turned to mush as Foxy forced down the crotch piece. His fingers bent backwards, and more bones broke as Chica forced on the arm pieces. His jaw then split, and his eyes popped out of his skull as they all forced on the headpiece. Finally, Mike's inaugural shift has come to a bloody end. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He just had his skull opened by SCP-049. 049 is an intelligent humanoid anomaly, adorned in the popular garb of a plague doctor. If he touches your bare skin, you will instantly die. He will then mutilate and experiment on your corpse. Despite his outward appearance, the robes are actually a part of his skin, and his mask is a part of his skull. He believes a great illness called the pestilence has befallen swathes of humanity, and it is his calling to find and cure it. He will become hostile against anyone he claims to be infected with the pestilence. His cure, however, usually leaves his victims as little more than mindless zombies, lacking anything that resembles humanity. The Doctor, however, believes his cure is most effective. Subscribe for more. This is Mike, and he just destroyed SCP-173 with SCP-106. He first lured the statue and the old man into the same containment chamber. Ignorant of the statue's abilities, the old man's neck was quickly snapped in the blink of an eye. The old man healed, but the statue snapped his neck again. Shocked and enraged at the metaphorical stones on this fucker, 106 began to dissolve the statue with his acid. Eventually, all that was left of 173 was a single twisted piece of rebar and a few chunks of concrete, slowly breaking apart into nothing as they sank deeper into the acid. Good job, Mike. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. This time he was killed by a strangler. The stranglers are a bipedal furry monstrosity from the backrooms. They dwell on level 58.1 and come out to hunt during blackouts. They will stealthily prowl the area looking for a victim to strangle with their snake-like fingers that are perfect for coiling around necks. Both humans and other stranglers are fair game. They will even kill each other and resort to cannibalism. Their large razor-sharp beaks will tear away chunks of flesh and crush bone. The stranglers will retreat to their dark dens once the power is restored. Stay out of the dark, people. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He was just skewered inside a Springlock suit from Five Nights at Freddy's. His first job didn't end well, so he's having another go. Inflation's a bitch, so Mike needs more dollar. By compressing the animatronic parts, the Springlock suits can be worn by a person. Sadly, these Springlocks are just shit, frankly. If you so much as breathe on these things, they'll decompress and you'll be turned into a human pincushion. This is where Mike comes in. After a hot shift, he unknowingly sprayed some sweaty spittle on one of the locks. First his eyes were crushed, then his cheeks were ripped, his eardrums were punctured, and then his whole head was crushed by beams and metal plates. A chain reaction was triggered as fluids began trickling throughout the suit. The minutes of darkness and agony passed by, one lock failing after another. His bones were broken, organs were destroyed, and skin torn. Finally, death came to greet Mike once more, and this time he was glad for it. Subscribe for more. This is Mike, and he just destroyed SCP-049. This one felt personal. He put the Doctor in the same room as SCP-12, the fucked up music sheet that compels you to try to finish it with your own blood. Mike gleefully watched as the Doctor hacked away at himself to try and satiate the object's desire for it. Syringes, scissors and blades were all brought to bear, but nothing could quench the paper's thirst. The Doctor finally tore off his mask, pulling his face with it, to get the last few remaining drops before collapsing to the floor. His last thought being that the music could not be finished. Vengeance is sweet, isn't it, Mike? Subscribe for more. This is Mike, and this time he was killed by a Leshen. Leshens are terrifying magical creatures that stalk the forests of the Witcher universe. They are fiercely territorial and will attack anyone that trespasses on their land. They can summon flocks of crows, packs of wolves, and other monstrosities to fight and distract their enemies, as well as commanding the roots beneath the ground to attack and restrain their victims. Now, while Leshens are quite slow, their attacks are lethal. One swing of their claws will see you knocking on death's door. Another neat little party trick is they can also disappear from Papa Bell's life, like killing or banishing a person it is linked to, and by destroying the lesser totems that mark its territory, so it cannot return. Overall, just stay out of the woods, people. Subscribe for more. This is Mike, and he was just obliterated from existence. The Gate Guardian is one of the most powerful SCPs. It is a 300-meter tall flaming angel called Uriel, standing guard in front of the gate to the Garden of Eden. It is armed with a flaming sword hotter than the sun that can annihilate anything in an instant. This thing wipes its arse with the laws of the universe, because if you get too close to this thing, then you will strike and you are gone. I don't mean dead, I mean absent from reality. The very matter that you are made of has now been annihilated and erased from time and space. A scientific impossibility. It is that powerful. Life chose not to destroy SCP-682. His scaly backside was handed it, and he will serve the biggest helping of all time. Should this thing decide to go for a wander from the gates of the Garden of Eden, at least he knows the fucking creatures upon his own world. This is Mike, and he is happy for once, because he doesn't see time away from dying and suffering to all that seems to be what Dickens is a massive honest man that makes people happy. There is no powerful hidden property that dooms you to eternal torture. It is simply a happy, playful creature that just wants you to be happy. A single touch will create feelings of euphoria that only grows with coming in contact with it. It will tickle people until they ask you to stop, and it will even attempt to defend people from harm, such as leaping in front of bullets and leading people away from hazardous situations. It lives on a diet of chocolate and sweets, has a special interest in unhappy people or those with PTSD, and it even managed to make the lizard boy happy on one occasion. Enjoy this time, Mike. It will be last. Subscribe for more. This is Mike, and he just mutated into a slasher from Dead Space. He was first hacked to death by a pack of necromorphs. An infector then injected the necromorph DNA directly into Mike's brain. 5 seconds later, new instructions flooded his brain, and his nervous system fired up once more. 7 seconds later, and the mutations began. His organs were consumed and recycled into new flesh. His bones bent and snapped as they were pulled into new positions. 9 seconds later, and Mike's blood began to boil away. His body began to warp, and 2 great serrated bone blades erupted from his back. 12 seconds later, and Mike's jaw split apart. His spine fused into an awkward position, and an inhuman roar bellowed up from within. 15 seconds later, and Mike is now a necromorph. It was all for science, Mike. Subscribe for more. This is Mike. He was just killed by a necromorph. The slashers have bone blades for arms. The dividers will stick tentacles down your throat. Exploders have a fucking IED growing out of their arm. The leapers look like messed up scorpions. Lurkers remind us why condoms were invented. Wheezers are just toxic asthmatics. Pregnants will give birth